Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Rhineverse as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes. I have to hold on. There's a cat argument going on outside of my door. I'd have to deal with this. Why stop screaming at your brother! Here, get in here. Don't puff up at me. Stop screaming at your brother. Yes, I know he was yelling at you. I heard. I came to rescue you. Yeah, Vivi just had him cornered in front of your door, just screaming at him. Okay, continue. There's a scientist. Welcome to Muses of Mythology, a podcast where we explore how ancient myths become modern pop culture. This week, we continue our journey through Rick Riordan's Percy Jackson and the Olympians with Story 43, Hellhounds. I'm your co-host and podcasting muse, Darien and Smartt. Joining me is my co-host and brother, DJ.
How's everyone doing today? I'm the Muse of the Damned, as you know. And today, should we just jump right into it, Darien?
Well,
oh, no, wait. We got to do our tour. Sorry, it's been a minute since we recorded main feed.
Yeah, we're going to go to the theater real quick.
Yeah.
Hey all, just Darien again. DJ got caught up in an exhibit that was a river made of real pieces of candy that visitors were encouraged to take a piece and really be a part of the ever-changing art experience. You know how it is. You may also know that it's a new month, which means it's time for our monthly Patreon donation. Here at Muses of Mythology, we donate $1 for every patron we have over on Patreon to some organization working to create a net good in the world. June is Pride Month in the U.S., but here in Boise, Idaho, where we're located, our Pride Festival takes place in September. This year, the festival faced some issues with funding, so this month we'd like to donate to the Boise Pride Festival. Through community events, outreach, and engagements, including the annual Pride Festival and Pride Prom, Boise Pride celebrates lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, non-binary, and queer social and self-acceptance, achievements, legal rights, and pride. We currently have 8 patrons, so we'll be donating an additional $20 out of pocket, making our total donation $28. Thank you so much to all of our patrons who make this donation possible. And an extra thank you to all of our listeners whose continued support and engagement with the show makes this a wonderful experience for us to put on all year long. Shout out to our listeners who've emailed us in the recent past. First, a long overdue apology to Eliza for giving them a mild heart attack with our bait and switch regarding the name change announcement in the end of the last season. Thank you for still listening. And more recently, shout out to Ray, who emailed us after our Mpusa episode to recommend Immortals After Dark, a series with some super fun mythology and a very juicy twist on the vampire lore. We love getting recommendations for neat stories and really any sort of emails from our listeners. If you have a topic suggestion, episode feedback, or just want to say hi and don't want to engage on social media, we get it. You can send us an email at musesofmythology@gmail.com or go to the website musesofmythology.com. There's a form submission there. I made it really easy. And an announcement we've been looking forward to making for a while, we have merch available. There is real life Muses of Mythology stickers that you can order right now at musesofmythology.com. We'll have more on that at the end of the episode. But if you don't want to wait, you can scroll down into the show notes and find the link to what we have to offer. That's everything. And now, back to the show. Okay, DJ, now let's jump into it.
All right, today we're talking about Hellhounds. I'm actually pretty excited about this one.
I was going to say, I think you can be forgiven for jumping the gun a little bit because, DJ, you're running the show today.
I am. I'm pretty excited about it.
I'm closing my app. I'm putting my phone down. I have nothing to reference. I'm just here. Wow.
The fun thing about this episode is that lore and mythology surrounding Hellhounds relatively sparse and relatively samey, right?
Okay, yeah.
The funny thing about it is actually that it mainly comes from Europe and North America, right?
Yes, this makes sense to me. I don't see Hellhound a lot in other things.
No, which I decided to we'll get into it. I looked into it that a little bit.
Okay.
See, why, right? But we'll get into it. So we'll start with we'll start with just the general. The books is a great way to start this, Darien. What do you know about the Hellhounds from the books, Darren? It is my turn to pin it on you.
It is your turn. Okay, so we've actually talked about Hellhounds in relation to the podcast before, back in Bunker 9 in the Mini Myth Roundup in Season 1. Because a Hellhound attacks Percy in the woods in Camp Half-Blood right after Capture the Flag.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what convinces Chiron that camp is not safe, and he sends Percy on the quest. And we learn later it was Luke who let the Hellhound in to convince Chiron that Percy was not safe at camp to send him on the quest. It's a whole thing.
Yes.
And essentially, Hellhound is just monster. It's just a monster. Really, it could have been anything. It was a Hellhound specifically to convince them that Hades was behind everything.
Yes.
But it could have been any infernal beast. Until later on, Hellhounds are really just that, generic infernal beast. I think the one exception we have is Mrs. O'Leary, who we meet in Battle of the Labyrinth. Quincy, a.k.a. Daedalus's Hellhound pet. She is giant, like massive, even compared to other Hellhounds. And she's just a good girl. She's just a good girl.
She's just a good dog.
She's a good dog. She wants scritches, and she wants to tear apart the Greek combat dolls. And you love it.
Absolutely.
And then she has a great scene in Trials of Apollo. But we're not there yet.
No, we're not. Sadly.
That's what I know about Hellhounds from the Percy Jackson books.
Yep. I mean, you nailed it, essentially. Like, we don't get much in the Percy Jackson books outside of generic monster being generic monster and Mrs. O'Leary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that that's a bad thing, because I do just enjoy a lot of the times just generic monster being, monster.
You need horde monsters to throw at your heroes.
Exactly. And fucking Hellhound's never much of a horde monster in Percy Jackson, though. It's just a monster. Horde of monsters? Sure.
Yes.
But yeah, Mrs. O'Leary is great, and we love her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we can dive into the myth of the Hellhound. And a lot of the times they are, not a lot of times, like every time, they're depicted as black, larger than your average dog, and red or yellow eyes. Those are the distinct factors that make up Hellhounds versus any other dog.
Mm-hmm.
And we can go back, and some people would say that the earliest dating of a Hellhound would be like Greek Cerberus. And Cerberus is a fair one, right?
I suppose that makes... I have my little cryptid blind box that I got a couple years back. It is a Cerberus.
Yeah.
He is so good, my little vinyl boy. He's going to hang out with me this episode.
Cerberus is one of the more famous hellhounds, or at the very least considered a hellhound, being a hound of Hades.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And Hades wasn't viewed to be as a good thing back then. It still isn't. And I'm using Hades as the location term and not the god term. Yeah.
It's the... Because the thing about the hellhound is they don't come from this plane usually, right? They're coming from the afterlife, this other realm, this
world.
Wretched, dark, the damned, DJ, as you are intimately familiar with.
Yeah, absolutely. I know them very well.
What are the damned muse about, DJ?
A better life. It's honestly pretty sad, actually, hearing
Did they muse about hope? Hope
but here's the issue with it, right? It's hope to return to their crimes.
Oh, so that's the worst. Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, there's some sprinkled in there. They're like, oh, hope. And I'm still like, but bro, no. Personally, I can't do anything about it. But
it's just your job. Yeah. All right. So
I hear what you guys are saying. Please stop sometime.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with Hellhounds typically don't come from our world. They come from another world, another realm, whatever it is you want to call it. I'm on the Wikipedia because it is a pretty extensive. It's here is the location and how they viewed Hellhounds, right?
Yeah.
And I looked into some of their sources. They seem pretty fine enough to be oh yeah, because some of them are just one sentence, like Galicia. I don't know where that location is. Spain. Fucking Spain.
Okay.
In Spain, the Orco is a giant black hound that led the Santa Campana in the version of the Wild Hunt. A lot of them are just one sentence, right?
Yeah, okay, hold on. Santa Campana version of the Wild Hunt. The Wild Hunt is a Fae thing. Are we about to go down a rabbit hole?
Why is this Wikipedia page in Spanish?
Well, the Santa Campana sounds like it's more of a Spain.
It is a Spanish thing. Okay, Holy Company is a deep-rooted mythical belief in the rural northwest of Iberia, Spain, and northern Portugal.
Okay.
And what is the Wild Hunt?
The Wild Hunt is like a facet of like fae or fairy folklore, where they are the hunters. They ride through the sky, a fairy, or sometimes the mortal world. Sometimes they punish those who have gotten away with wrongdoings, or they're just hunters.
Okay, so it's the Spanish form of the Wild Hunt.
I dig it. I love the Wild Hunt. I have a tragically soft spot for the Wild Hunt.
So the Hellhounds in Spain lead the Wild Hunt.
That's cool.
In Germany, it's just Hellhounds are the devil, like actually.
The devil takes the form
just
of
the devil
hound.
would appear as a black hellhound.
Interesting. It's not often that the devil's a dog.
No. In France, it was there. I guess it was to be believed that a black, in 856 AD, a black hellhound was said to materialize in a church, though the doors were shut. And then it would just disappear. And then it happened again. No, it didn't happen again. But there was a ghost ship with a hellhound on it later on.
Is it to be believed this is the same dog?
It was to guard. I don't know if it's believed to be the same dog, but it's to guard the souls of the criminals on them.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. The church thing sounds like there was probably a hole in the foundation and there was just a dog getting in. But sure, ghost ship.
Possibly. But a black dog?
A black dog.
The odds?
Pretty good.
What are the odds of a black dog? I don't know.
I don't know. Let's calculate it. In France? Was it okay, hold on. It was inside in France in what year?
859 AD.
I'm not sure how prominent electricity was in old churches in 859. It could have just been dark in the church.
Probably.
This could have been a gray dog. Could have been a dapple dog.
It's actually kind of funny that the longest entry here on the Wikipedia page is the Welsh one. And let me see if I can find a phonetics way to pronounce this fucking name.
It's probably another fairy thing.
The shit's spelled CWNANNWN.
Oh, there's no way.
You gotta love the Welsh language.
Gotta love the Welsh. All these consonants. Consonants you don't expect. Sounds cool though. Love Welsh.
Yeah, but they're the spectral hounds of the word that is the ANNWN. And that is the other world of the Welsh mythos, right?
Probably more of a fae fairy-esque type deal.
Very well could be. But yeah, they got the longest entry here, which I find kind of funny.
This tracks.
And then in Norse mythology, we have Fenrir and Garmr, which is Garmr is the guard of the world Hell.
Interesting. I definitely categorize guard of the world Hell. I would definitely categorize Garmr if we were categorizing Cerberus as hellhound. I'm not sure about Fenrir though.
Why not?
Just more of a supernatural wolf than hellhound proper.
How? Okay, what's the difference, Darien?
Guard. Being a guard.
Being a guard is what classifies a hellhound?
I think so. Guard or going after prey, hunting. The guard or the hunting. That's usually what hellhounds
during Ragnarok,
do.
Fenrir's hunting the gods.
Okay. Where does Fenrir come from? Specifically. It's a child of Hades, right? That's the thing? Or am I misremembering?
Fenrir is a child of Hades.
Not child of Loki. Loki, sorry. I meant Loki.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on.
So then the other thing is you have to come from some sort of underworld infernal type realm. So this other
Giantess Angerboda.
Okay. Neither of these folks are from hell.
How do you know that Angerboda is not from hell, Darien?
Based on what I know about Norse giants, I'm just taking a guess.
I mean, yeah, Giantess and Jotunheim.
What'd I say? That's why I think not for Fenrir. Fenrir's a big, scary wolf.
But
the big bad wolf from Red Riding.
Red eyes.
Okay. You could listen. Who says it's a black wolf with red eyes? Where is that source coming from? Where is that? Listen.
It's artist depiction as to what Fenrir looks like.
I feel like artist depiction based on the inspired by the myth of Hellhound, using the influence of Hellhound to depict Fenrir. That doesn't necessarily make Fenrir himself a Hellhound. I would argue that
that would argue that like everybody who's like heard of Fenrir would then be like, yeah, that sounds like Hellhound to me, Darien. So I'm going to draw him like I know a Hellhound to be.
No, also is just big scary black dog with red eyes is also a scary aesthetic. You can give that to the big bad wolf. That doesn't make the big bad wolf from Red Riding. That does not make him. It is can't. Okay, yes, I'm once again referring to my little Cerberus who is black and has red eyes.
He's a gatekeeper that sends people to hell.
He's a gatekeeper?
He can be. He sends a lot of people to hell.
Not by killing them.
Exactly.
No. And they don't necessarily go to hell. There's a lot of afterlives they can be going to. No, he just kills
hellish hound.
No, I don't think so. I have to say no to Fenrir.
Not a hellhound specifically, but a hellish hound.
Okay, a hellish hound I think is correct, because the term hellish doesn't always necessarily directly refer to av or from hell.
But yeah, a lot of them are they're all just like described exactly the same way, right? Black, big, like
big,
abnormally big, abnormally strong, red eyes, sometimes yellow.
Well, that's just... Here's the thing. Our cats sometimes red, sometimes yellow eyes if you flash light on them, depending on what the color. Vivi's eyes flash red because he's got blue eyes. Hero's eyes flash yellow because he's got, like, darker brown, green eyes. It's scary the first time I saw Vivi's eyes flash in the dark. Like, legitimately chill of that, like, primal caveman fear. Just like, holy shit, there's a beast in the house.
Yeah, and there's even some for the United States, which I wasn't, like, really expecting to see.
Ooh, tell me more.
In Connecticut, there is a dog in the 19th century that was said to haunt, like, the hanging hills.
Ooh. Love a spooky urban legend.
And then the first non-local account came from W.H.C. Pynchon in the Connecticut Quarterly, in which it is described as a death omen. It is said that if you meet the black dog once, it shall be for joy. Twice, it shall be for sorrow. And the third time shall bring death.
I love it when there's rules and you have to remember. Like, that's my favorite. Interesting. Not a lot of Greek I'm seeing here. We've got like Cerberus, and that's it.
But let's see if I go back.
Here, okay, here's a question I would like to ask. DJ, are hellhounds even Greek?
No. I would honestly, like, I'd barely argue Cerberus is a hellhound because
I
don't know. It's just it doesn't seem right.
Yeah.
Like it never read to me as hellhounds being Greek. It was something definitely more Judeo-Christian,
infernal,
rather than Greek, right?
I don't even think you see hellhound in the Bible. Or any, like...
No.
I'm not super familiar with, like, Jewish texts, but, like, based on what I know of the Old and New Testament, I'm not sure I find hellhound anywhere. I could be...
No. I mean, maybe, right? But here's the thing that I found actually kind of interesting. There's, like, with one-ish exception of Arabia, but that's also considered Asia as well, right? There is no African sighting of hellhounds.
Go on.
And I actually did. When I noticed, I'm like, because there's even like Japanese and Indian, right? Like there's these different sightings, and I was like intrigued. I'm like, why is that? It's because domesticated dogs, aside from Egypt, did not reach Africa until like the late 6th century.
No, yeah, that makes interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, why you wouldn't have those
I guess that, because there definitely wouldn't be like, sure, we have like dingoes in Australia, but there wouldn't be shit like wolves and like other things for people to encounter in Africa, given the fact of just like temperature, climate, all that sort of things. It's not really native to that area. And the earliest domesticated dog is in fact like 3700 BC in Egypt as the first recorded that we have of just like a dog chilling with humans.
Yeah.
But it didn't make it past the Sahara Desert until 6th century BC or 6th century AD.
Yeah, because I'm sure they have other, because there are other like dog-like creatures in those. And it's a massive goddamn continent. There's tons of animals down there.
Huge.
But the legend of the Hellhound is very specific. This nature of canine, the familiar, the companion, because they're not hell wolves. Wolf is something completely different, which is also why I argue that Fenrir's not a hellhound.
Yeah, they're generally more.
It's a dog. You should be able to trust a dog.
It's a dog, right? Like that was definitely like I don't know. It's just super interesting that it really didn't fucking make it to Africa like at all. And I even searched like African hellhounds, right, to really see if I could find something. There's fuck all about that kind of thing.
And that makes sense, because if the nature of it is this, you have to have you won't have a hellhound in an area where you don't have hounds. That's not a thing.
Yeah.
Side note, I went to the website Bible Gateway, which allowed you to search keywords for the Bible, and I searched a hellhound, and I found one from 2 Samuel verse 6, or I guess 16, 5-8. There's some dude who I'm sure this is a very important biblical person, and I should know. Yeah, right. Oh shit, he's throwing rocks at David and his company. You know this guy was an asshole. You shouldn't be throwing rocks at David. So he was throwing rocks at David and his company, servants and soldiers alike. To the accompaniment of the curses, he shouted, get lost, you butcher, you hellhound. God has paid you back for all your dirty work in the family of Stahl for sealing his kingdom. I don't know what translation this is. So. But yeah, hellhound
probably
mentioned
the King
in the Bible.
James one. Just the most common translation.
This one usually tells me like a bunch of like different. Oh shit, it's the Message.
Ah, okay.
It's the Message translation. I'm not familiar with that.
Neither am I.
Oh, yeah, if you change to the King James Version, it doesn't mention hellhound anymore. He shouts, thou man of Belial. So hellhound is definitely someone's choice in translating, but not necessarily. Okay.
But yeah, it definitely does seem like it came from the familiarity of dogs.
Yeah.
Not wolves. People already viewed wolves as evil and like a fucking
dangerous
menace. If you didn't already know that the Paris was sieged by wolves in the early sometime in the early 500 AD, between 0 and 500. I don't know exactly where, but they were sieged by wolves and they barely fucking survived. Actually, no, it was later because they did have gunpowder guns. They're a fucking menace. Do not let wolves populate.
Do you want to real quick look up that so we can name drop that wolf so our listeners can research and like get into this later? Because we are not going to get into this. If we'll get into this, I'll cut it later for time. It's a total tangent, but you should read this. DJ told me about this. This is wild shit.
There is a wolf in 1450 AD that just fucking led onslaughts against Paris, and his name was Courtade. And there was like 3 different attacks by the same wolf that resulted in like hundreds of wolves dying, but also hundreds of people dying.
Do we think this was a wolf or was it a hellhound?
Fuck, dude. The way that they describe it might as well have been a hellhound. This motherfucker learned the guard patterns before ever sieging. Like after the first time, he then would just like wait and watch the guard patterns and know what towers had specifically either crossbow. It was crossbows. He would avoid crossbows because he'd be like, yeah, the crossbows can take it down a good few of us before we ever reach the wall. So like he would fucking make sure to find weaknesses in the wall and the guard patrol routes before he ever fucking attacked. And then like him and the fucking leader of the guards of Paris and like the final siege fucking duked it out, and they both died by the end of that fight. They both died. Like that shit's insane to me. Wolves are a fucking menace. And right, like I don't know, it was a fucking while ago.
All right, that feels like a good pivot into hellhounds in modern pop culture. I know this is your episode. I'm sorry, I'm just
No, go ahead. Like here's the thing about it, right? Is that there's just not much on hellhounds outside of people have spotted large black dogs.
Scary dog, yeah.
large, scary dogs just around, right?
Yeah.
And it's like they're all relatively similar in sighting and experience and like at the very least how it conveys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if the Arabia and the Japanese one are maybe the most unique.
Yeah.
Because the Japanese one is a yokai that resembles a dog, and it follows people. If they're on a mountain path, it follows them. If you trip and fall, it eats you immediately. But if you act like you're resting, it'll leave you alone.
You trip and fall. Oh, what a comfortable patch of rock. I just had to lie down immediately. I couldn't let this go.
Yeah, straight up. That's exactly what I thought too. It's like,
I'm just going to take a nap.
I'm tired as you're just falling down.
Oh, I'm so sleepy. Your leg is twisted. You're bleeding. Like, oh, so comfortable.
And then for like the Arabia one, it's jinns, while not necessarily evil, will sometimes just appear as black dogs.
That sounds like something a djinn would do, to be honest. Yeah.
Or no, they use black dogs as their mounts, so they ride on the back of black dogs.
Oh, I didn't know that. I definitely would have given my djinn character Amir a black dog. Would have been a good play. His name would have been Dog.
What are some favorite hellhounds from literature, Darren? Or pop culture, not just literature?
I've really got 2. I only have 2, and it's weird. I feel like I should have more.
Uh-huh.
But, I mean, in terms of, like, distinctness, I think, like I said earlier, they really are just monster beast. And are rarely unique. The first one that comes to mind is Supernatural. God, they use hellhounds a lot.
Yeah.
And I think
it's funny. On this Wikipedia thing, it is like in television, first one, hellhounds appear in the television show Supernatural, e.g. in episode 510 or season 5, episode 10, Abandon All Hope. And that made me assume they're in a lot more episodes than just 510.
No, they're in a lot. I mean, largely in part because dealing with like demons and beings from hell and the celestial is a pretty common theme in Supernatural. So obviously hellhounds. Yeah. And when you're like up against demons, rarely does the big demon want to fight you. So they'll send hellhounds to deal with the heroes. But I think the real reason hellhounds appear so often in Supernatural is because the idea of them is that you can't see them. They are of hell. You can't see the hellhounds. If I remember correctly, hold on. I'm pretty confident.
And so it saves money on CGI budget.
That's what I was going to say. It saves money on CGI. They are, Yep, they are invisible to undamned humans. So most people can't see them. And so they have just, running, there's a hellhound chasing you. They just put in the sounds, and sometimes they'll CGI if someone can like make out if they're using magic or a spell or some device. So that's hellhounds.
What's your other one, Darien?
Well, I mean, I could go on about my other one for a while. Is there any other ones you want to mention? I would kind of like to save my other one for last because it's very good.
I guess I'll just put in the biggest one for me, like that. Even the first experience with hellhounds that I ever had, like even like realizing they were ever a thing, was in fact probably like a lot other people my age, Call of Duty Black Ops 1 on the PS3.
Oh.
Specifically the zombies mode, because you would play it, and at round 5, 6, or 7, and every 4 to 5 rounds after that, you would get a round of specifically just hellhounds. And they would come charging at you a lot faster than the zombies. They're not nearly as strong as the zombies, but because they are faster, if you don't have the right gun, they are harder to shoot. But at the end of the round, if you survive, they drop a max ammo, so you get all your ammo back. It's great. And they've been featured in every single Treyarch Zombies game since their release.
Do you ever go to hell in Call of Duty? Because the existence of hellhounds implies an existence of a physical realm of hell.
Thank you so much for asking about the backstory of these hellhounds, Darien, because you're going to hate this.
Oh, shit. No, you told me this before. Oh, shit. Oh, no, hold on.
Fun fact about the hellhounds of... No. If you guys don't know the lore of Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, it's a fucking mess, but there's a great video out there. I don't remember who it's by. Definitely go check it out. It's like 3 to 4 hours long.
We'll find it and link it in the show notes.
Absolutely. What it is there are two leading scientists. We got Dr. Richtofen and Dr. Maxis. Neither of them are particularly good people, but Maxis has morals, but he is inclined to work with the Nazis. Richtofen doesn't
you have no
like
morals if you work with Nazis.
Richtofen doesn't like the Nazis, but actually has no morality for human life outside of that. He just doesn't like the politics of the Nazis. Maxis works with them for funding specifically, because they're going to fund all this shit as long as they make weapons for them, right? That's the Group 935 backstory. And so it's Richtofen's super against that, but he's just a fucking psycho piece of shit.
Okay.
Behind the scenes, he managed to get like the teleporting time travel. I don't know. It's a lot of, again, fucky wucky shit.
Okay.
And then Maxis has this daughter, Samantha. She's just this 10-year-old German girl who is being kind of neglected by her father, and he does feel bad about that, but it's hard for him since he lost his wife. His daughter reminds him, that whole shebang.
That trope, yeah.
Gets her a dog, Fluffy.
Oh, no.
Right? Love this dog. Samantha loves it. And then Richtofen finally does his insurgents, essentially, traps Richtofen, Samantha, and Fluffy all in the teleporter and sends them off to where? A lot of different places. All three of them actually end up at a different place. Samantha ends up inside an Agarthan device that allows her to take control over the zombies. Maxis ends up in the ether and is just, I actually don't remember exactly where Samantha ends up. I'm pretty sure it's in the ether because he can talk to Samantha while she's in the Agarthan device and tell Samantha, hey, you need to, what is it? You try to get Maxis on your side, but when he reaches after he tricks you guys and reaches Samantha, he's like, Samantha, make sure they all die. And so Samantha sends the zombies after all of them, and events ensue. Now Fluffy, I don't remember exactly where Fluffy ends up, but Fluffy was pregnant at the time.
Oh.
And so she winds up I think she winds up in the ether as well, but touched by apothecants. That's the name for them. And they end up corrupting Fluffy and her children and turning them into hellhounds. Now Samantha still does have control over Fluffy and her kids, so sends them after our, I'd say heroes, but they're really not much that until Black Ops 3.
Okay.
Love it. Fuck, dude. Honestly, Black Ops zombies lore, the craziest fucking shit
crazy.
you'll ever actually listen
wild.
to and read.
Is it Hellhound? We define Hellhound as a beast from some sort of infernal other realm. I don't really understand the lore where they went. Do you believe that meets the qualification that we set for Hellhound based on where Fluffy went?
Other world, touched by demons. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Give or take. Here's the thing about it, though, right? Is that then it's like we go to the map, Mob of the Dead, which takes place in Alcatraz in a hellish dimension. It's not quite hell, but it serves a purpose to be hellish. And it's definitely like fire, brimstone, fucking lava pits all over the place. It's spooky. It's a lot of fun.
Sounds spooky. Okay. I did just learn this about supernatural hellhounds.
Uh-huh.
While you were, before we transitioned over, I didn't know this because I stopped watching the show. In season 12, we learned that hellhounds were originally created by God. Makes sense. God created everything, including hellhounds. I suppose. But apparently God decided that the hellhounds were just too vicious and decided to destroy them all. And Lucifer rescued this hellhound named Ramsey, who was one of the first hellhounds. And Ramsey was pregnant at the time, so from her, all of the hellhounds continued. And just the Fluffy being pregnant just reminded me of this.
Man, that's wild.
Yep.
It reminds me of the Eternals. Those things,
no,
they're too
how do we
vicious
get back
for what I needed.
Oh, shit,
I'm
you're
just
right,
gonna
it is
send
the
out
Eternals.
The Eternals to kill the things that I created that turned out to be too vicious.
Yep. Yep.
Fucking whack, dude.
Anyway, Sam kills her. Good job, Sam. She only appeared in one episode, and we got this whole fucking backstory.
Funky.
She's the second female hellhound and the second named hellhound to appear in the series.
Okay.
What? Oh, the Adventure Time.
Yeah.
The little fire. I don't know if it counts as a hellhound.
They're
not from hell, but they're from the Fire Kingdom.
Yeah, they're close enough. They're little fire dogs.
Yeah,
I think they're called fire wolves, obviously, because they're just wolves made of fire and rock. They're adorable. Love them.
Yeah, they're really cute, and I like the little fire with it. It befriends the snow golem, who has to take care of him, even though he makes him melt.
Love that episode. Very
Yeah,
good.
they are fire wolves. Yeah, you're right. It's not really hellhounds, but it's very cute.
Yeah, Houndour and Houndoom are based on hellhounds from Pokemon.
Yep, that
classic.
tracks.
Gotta love
They
that.
do. I do love Houndoom, though. It's like,
They're cracked. He's very cool
got fucking
design.
horns. Like, God, that's so cool. Like, I was a Pokemon trainer, I'd be like, I want one of those.
I forgot the Hellhounds actually show up in Wizards 101.
Wizards? Are you name dropping Wizards 101?
I am, because I'm not getting back into it. Not that I was ever actually into it, but I've played it recently.
Uh-huh.
And they're called Heckhounds.
Of course they are. I love it when they're called Heckhounds.
It's great. I love it.
Okay, so I'm trying to find other like hellhounds for us to talk about. And this article claims that like, oh, hellhounds haven't been appearing since Hesiod wrote his Theogony. And I'm like, oh shit, are they actually Greek? Hold on, Theogony, hellhound. Cerberus. They're saying Cerberus was the that doesn't.
They're saying Cerberus. He's a hound of another world, sure. Right. That is technically what we have been classifying hellhounds as.
Yes.
But I wouldn't like the traditional hellhound that I think, granted, yeah, it's the zombies on fire zombie dog. But even then, like, it's still a dog that's like fire based, black fire, shit like that. Mainly that's just how the word hell brings to mind, right? Fire, rock, brimstone, shit like that.
I think this thing is okay, because this is the distinction. I think you and I in this conversation, we can agree that Cerberus can, if the umbrella is hellhound, Cerberus exists on a branch of hellhound, but Cerberus does not exist on the same branch as your Call of Duty Zombies hellhound or my Supernatural hellhounds.
Or even the fucking cryptid hellhounds that we've seen throughout history.
Or the cryptid, yes. So it's different. And to say that, the earliest hellhound is Cerberus from the Theogony, I feel is disingenuous. That's a goddamn
it really does
stretch.
Feel so fucking like, oh yeah, this is the earliest depiction of a hellhound. It's a dog from another world, right? Sure.
It's like a 3-headed guard dog. But I guess why does this feel weird to me?
Because the underworld doesn't feel like hell.
No, it doesn't. It's because earlier when you said, oh, you can consider Cerberus a hellhound, I was like, yeah, that makes sense. But to say Cerberus is the oldest hellhound, I feel no, because I feel like it's retroactive.
Yeah.
That's what it is. We are retroactively deciding Cerberus is a hellhound, but that doesn't make...
You could also say Anubis could technically be a hellhound, right?
Yeah, he could technically be a hellhound, but to say he's the first one, I think that's because we're retroactively including it, but it doesn't feel the same as going back.
Is that it's like the term hellhound, I don't even know when that term first came about. I don't imagine the Greeks used hellhound, right?
No.
As when we first were seeing hellhound, it probably was popping up around the time of like the early AD, like whatever the fuck it would be.
Okay, I'm on this etymology website. According to this, hellhound, wicked person, agent of hell, circa 1400 from Old English hellhound, which is, they say, Cerberus.
Okay.
Also could be like
I guess the first time they use it is for Cerberus, then yeah. Right?
Well, because hell,
that's the first
we get...
Hell we get from Norse, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure. But also, it was like Christian monks who actually recorded all the Norse mythology, so they may have called her hell after a word that already resonated with their understanding of the
Well,
netherworld.
here's the thing about it. It's like they could have called her it, right? But they called the place hell.
Yeah. Well, she's also hell.
It doesn't, it's hard to be like translation also, because then it's like you got words like fucking Fenrir. They really, did they really choose to keep Fenrir and not keep whatever they chose for that world?
Well, I think, okay, wow, we're on something. Old Norse hell from Proto-Germanic Halahia, one who covers up or hides something, was the name of Loki's daughter who ruled over the evil dead in Niflheim. And that may have reinforced the English word as like a transfer of the pagan concept to Christian theology and its vocabulary. So I think the word hell in English maybe does in fact come from the Old Norse of this goddess's name, Hel.
Okay, yeah, and it does seem like that's a fucking wild name to be like just dropping, right? I understand just abbreviating it.
Yeah. Cerberus. Does Cerberus mean hellhound, maybe?
Cerberus means mark or spot.
Oh, yeah, it does. We know that.
Yeah. That was a whole meme on the internet for a minute.
Yeah, people really like that. Yeah, I think we distinguish it. My problem with saying that Hellhound is the first, or that Cerberus is the first Hellhound, is because it's retroactive. We are retroactively saying Cerberus is the Hellhound, but I don't think it's accurate to just say Cerberus is the first Hellhound, because I don't believe the Hellhound myth originates from Cerberus. Like, I don't think those later stories are meant to reference Cerberus.
It doesn't. But then again, it's like we can go back and we retroactively change things all the time, right?
No, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think because it's like you can have
vampire, it didn't exist during the time of the Impusa.
No, but I think we also agreed it didn't.
Vampire, as well as succubus, right?
Yeah, there's that game you can play where it's like, well, this clearly inspired this, which inspired this, which inspired this, and when you follow that trail, I think is when you can say this X piece of like old folklore or mythology could be considered the first whatever.
So you don't think Cerberus inspired it at all?
I don't think so.
Large black dog from the underworld?
No, I don't think so. Also because Cerberus has many heads and usually has a snake head for a tail.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like a little snake for a tail.
Yeah.
And those go away. Like you don't see multi-headed dog is very distinctly a Cerberus thing, which is an aspect of a guardian.
Yeah.
If the dog has, it could be big and black and have red eyes, but if it has multiple heads, it's probably not chasing people down. It's probably supposed to guard something specific. And I think that is the distinction. You don't have hellhounds that stay in one place and guard. The hellhound is like the hunter. It will go after.
I get that. Okay. That makes sense.
So that is my thing with the hellhound. That's why I don't think Cerberus. I think we can maybe retroactively say, yes, we can classify Cerberus as a hellhound. I've been on this for too long. I recognize that.
No, you're fine. Here's the thing. I'm actually going to bring up one that doesn't sit right with me, and it is Luna from Helluva Boss or Helluva Boss.
Oh, I have not watched Helluva Boss.
Lists her she's just a wolf, right? A wolf furry from hell.
Okay, yeah.
Granted,
wrong.
Like that is hellhound, whatever. But it's like I wouldn't consider her a hellhound. She's a wolf furry from hell.
Yeah.
And so it's like this listing that is like, in the YouTube animated spin-off series Helluva Boss, an anthropomorphic receptionist named Luna, she can be seen working at a company called Imp and another hellhound voice, like whatever. And I'm like, I wouldn't consider her a hellhound.
I'm over here like, she just straight up looks like the wolf furry persona that this artist did for her Kesha music video from ages ago. Like, it's just her using this design again, like updated for the hell motif. But yeah, I've seen this design. Not a bad thing, not criticizing, but also distinctly interesting. Okay. I'm trying to figure out whether they think she's a hellhound. Someone calls her a hellhound in the show, I guess it looks like. One of her nicknames.
I guess like in lore of Helluva Boss, then yeah, she's a hellhound, right? If that's how this world wants to depict hellhounds. I just mean personally, I see that. I don't think hellhound, even if I know the show, which I kind of do.
Oh, no, but is it because it's the distinctly furry aesthetic? Because another thing about that is typically the demons don't look like this. I don't
No.
want to talk about... Why did you trick me into talking about Hazbin Hotel?
I didn't. I brought up Helluva Boss, Darren. I
Which
wasn't
is
even
a
going to bring
spin-off
up
of
the
Hazbin. I'm literally on the Hazbin
I wasn't even
wiki
going to
right
bring
now.
up the Hazbin Hotel wolf, which they have, which they argue is the same situation. And I don't even remember what that one looks like because it was a fucking brief moment in a song.
Are they all animals? Because some of them have animal-esque aesthetic, but some of them are just like straight demon. So if that's the case,
because I mean, Charlie we know is a princess of hell who's never even seen the other world.
Yeah. So like the Helluva boss characters look more traditionally demonic. They have horns and stuff.
Yeah.
So she does look distinctly different from the rest of them. So I'd almost agree that, yeah, this is a hellhound in the classification of the Helluva boss.
Again, like, yeah.
But I see where your point is coming from.
Because she's from hell, she's a hound, and in the world they call her a hellhound, and I will secede to that. However, in the same vein that Charizard is not a dragon, Luna is not a hellhound.
Yes,
right?
I think by that specific logic.
I just flipped because just flipped inverted because in game Charizard's not a dragon, but in like how everybody feels about him, yeah, he's a dragon. In world, Luna's a hellhound, but how I feel about her, she's not.
Can I talk about Good Omens now?
Go ahead.
I'm mad. I was made to talk about fucking Hazbin Hotel, and I'm ending this episode. We're talking about Good Omens.
Do you have an issue with Hazbin Hotel?
Closing this fucking tab. It's gone now. Okay, so in Good Omens by Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett. This is my favorite depiction of a hellhound. It's so good. Yeah. I love book and the TV show. It's so good. So basically, premise of Good Omens, in case you've somehow missed this, which you might have. No shame. You should watch it if it's something you think you'd be into. No big deal. So the Antichrist has been brought to Earth and is being swapped with the baby in a human family, set up to start the apocalypse. But another family also showed up at the nunnery that night to have a baby, and through some wacky mishaps, the baby didn't go to the American diplomats. The baby, Adam, went to this lovely family who just lives in the British countryside.
Yep.
But our protagonists, Crowley, the devil, and the demon, and the angel Aziraphale, who are trying to prevent the apocalypse because, damn, they like living on Earth, don't know this. They only find out when the Antichrist turns 11, he will be given a hellhound, to do his bidding on Earth as he leads the apocalypse. This big, vicious, horrible, bloodthirsty beast, right? And they're at the birthday party, and they're like, okay, the dog shows up, and he turns him away. Okay, we win. It's fine. But if he names the dog, we're fucked. The dog doesn't show up, because they're at the wrong kid's birthday party.
Yeah.
And no one knows, not even hell knows this. No one knows this. That the Antichrist has been just living in Surrey or some quaint little British countryside town. It does say the name. I don't remember.
It's literally the most like quaint fucking place. Like I watched the first episode, so I did see this much of the series.
Top
I'm like,
tier
this series
quaint.
Looks goofy. I love it.
It's so funny. We should watch it. Absolutely, we should watch it. I have it on Blu-ray. Also, like, for years, Adam has like used he doesn't know he has these powers of this influence, but he's kept his town quaint. Like they were going to build like a big manufacturing plant nearby, and it just didn't happen. Every single year is a perfect white Christmas, no matter what the weather. Like it's this perfect little town to live in because of this kid. So Hell unleashes the hellhound, who knows he's going to go find the Antichrist. It's the hellhound. It knows, boom, I'm going to go. And they just unleash it, and it goes and it's running, and it's massive, and it's vicious, and it's snarling, and it's shows
scary.
up.
It is definitely like the CGI they used for it is a little spooky.
Yeah. So it shows up when Adam is talking to his friends about how all he wants for his birthday is a dog. And his friends are like, you're not going to get a dog. He's like, no, I think I will. For my birthday, I think I'll definitely get a dog this year. And they're like, what kind of dog would you even want? And Adam's like, well, not a big dog, like a small dog. And the hellhound is there in the brush hearing this. Just a small dog. And all of a sudden it shrinks down. It's a lot shorter than it was before. Like a scruffy little dog. And it's like, whoa, I feel a lot lighter than I did before. Just like a good dog for like, running, chasing rabbits and then digging holes and things like that. And like, and what would you name this dog? And this is important. And this is like when the hellhound is named, as you get this in the dialogue. When it is named, he's like, I will have my purpose. This is my purpose. This is what I will be. And Adam thinks about it. He's like, just dog. And out of the underbrush just runs this little scruffy mongrel of a dog, yapping and barking, and runs right up to Adam into his arms. And so you have this hellhound who is a dog. And that is what he is meant to be. He's just a dog. He still has like hellhound, like I'm supposed to be a hellhound, but he's a dog. And so when they go into a house that has like a horseshoe above that's supposed to like, ward off evil, at first dog doesn't want to go in because he can't. But Adam's like, no, dog, come on. And he follows, and a little bit more of that like evil nature is stripped away. And in time you get like dog's internal thoughts. It's really funny, but he's like, he doesn't want the apocalypse. He doesn't want to go back to hell. He doesn't want to do those things.
I like living on Earth. This is great.
He likes napping, and he's like, I'm trying to figure out how to deal with the neighbor's cat, and I think I have a plan, and it involves jumping and barking at the same time. And it's just so goddamn charming, this notion of a former hellhound who is just a dog, who just wants to be a dog, for this kid who's supposed to be the Antichrist, who does just want to be a kid with a dog. And it's the most
unimaginable
charming
power, and he's just like, no, I'm just
no,
a kid.
I want it. Yeah, I'm just a kid. That's it's so good how it ends. And you've got but it's so in line with the rest of the series. You have an angel and a demon who are supposed to help bring about the apocalypse, and they're like, see, I really like to take
I thought it was
naps.
Crowley supposed to bring about the apocalypse, but the angel is supposed to prevent it.
No, the angels, heaven wants the apocalypse too. This is destined. It has been written. It is divine.
Now?
That's really their thing. Like, does it have to be now? Like, can it? Crowley just wants to take naps and hang out with his boyfriend.
Wait a couple more cycles until the Earth really begins to suck, right? Just wait, give or take 50, 100 years. The Earth will really suck then, right? We can wait for the apocalypse then, right?
Yep. Aziraphale just wants to eat sushi and hoard books. That's what they want to do. They don't want to go back. And so it's great. But yeah, I just love this idea of something that had no choice. Hellhound dog had no choice into being a hellhound, into having this purpose, into having to be this way.
Either.
Yeah, but when he gets that, he loves that and finds a new like joy in being what other people didn't expect he could be. Right? He became dog because Adam wanted dog. So he became dog, but he finds this absolute joy in... But that wasn't the plan. The plan wasn't for the hellhound to become a scruffy little mongrel stray of a dog, right? It's this like little like mixed breed dog. It was supposed to be a vicious hellhound who's going to rip people's throats out. But he doesn't, because he's a dog. And that's what, at their core, they're meant to be.
Just a small little dog hanging out.
Just not a big dog, just a small dog. Oh, God.
Yeah. Love it. Love it.
It's very charming. So that is my favorite depiction of a hellhound when he's not a hellhound. But it's just cute. Should we talk about how you fight Cerberus in Kingdom Hearts, or?
I was literally actually not in Kingdom Hearts. I was about to say, wow, this one. In Devil May Cry 3, one of the first bosses is Cerberus. That's all there is on that entry.
And that's it. And that's all.
Yeah. I mean, that's all I got for Hellhounds.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Yeah, I feel like I should have more Hellhound. Just they are common, but they're common and goddamn forgettable.
They're super common. They're forgettable. They're just not common in the shit that I go through.
Yeah.
That I come in contact with.
Okay, this post claims that hellhounds melt into shadows where they die, unlike other monsters that explode into dust.
That makes sense. They can shadow travel.
It implies they don't die but are disappearing.
Yeah. It's hard because it's like, yeah, they can shadow travel.
Chime in.
Owen, chime in.
Well, I got excited about Good Omens. That's really what I was looking forward to in this episode. Yeah. So, yay!
Yeah, I don't got much else on it. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for listening. What do you think? Specifically for me about Cerberus being a hellhound. Do you agree? Do you disagree? Do you think I'm way off?
Who's to say?
What are other dogs that should be a hellhound but aren't?
Yeah.
But we didn't mention. I'm sure there's
What
lots.
is your favorite historical wolf aside from Courtard? Courtard
historical wolf?
Historical wolf. I bet there's more. If you guys got more wolf stories that I haven't found yet, fucking send them to me. I'll read them. I'll check them out.
Yeah, drop him an email. You can swing by our website, musesofmythology.com. We have a full-on form you can fill out. Or you could email us at musesofmythology@gmail.com. It's up to you.
And merch coming soon.
Oh, merch available now.
Merch available now.
Merch available now, yes. As of this episode airing, we now have stickers available on our websites.
Their design is dope.
Yep. You can get a sticker of the Muses of Mythology cover art. So that image you see on your screen right now, yeah, you can have that as a sticker. Or you can have a brand new design created by an artist, Becca Rupert, that is, well, it's Don't Be Like Zeus.
It just says don't be like Zeus with a lightning bolt in the middle. And I really like it.
It's really good. Like, that's just, she really captured this vague idea I had about what I wanted in this sticker. And it's so good. You can check it out at, musesofmythology.com. There'll be a merch tab. Obviously, there'll also be just a direct link in the show notes. I'm so proud of it. You should just look at it and compliment it. Even if you aren't ready to buy it, you should just tell us how good it looks, though, because I need to hear it. Also, one more merch that is not available yet, because it is a Patreon stretch goal, but pretty soon we are, fingers crossed, hoping to have buttons available. It is not a stretch goal. That's not how Patreon works, but it's a goal.
It's a stretch
10
goal.
patrons.
I've heard people call that stretch goals, yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. 10 patrons, we will release buttons, and then everyone who is a patron at that time will receive a free button. So,
yes,
on any tier.
On any tier, you could just drop, 2 people could just come in and drop $1. We will release those buttons.
Yep, release the buttons, and we will also send you a button.
Though I'd recommend at least dropping 5 because we got a lot of bonus content that we're super proud of. Please come by and check that shit out.
I think that is that's enough shilling, I think, for the evening.
Shameless shill, absolutely.
No, always, absolutely. Shameless shilling. We love doing this, and we'd like to be able to do it for as long as possible, as stably as possible. So,
absolutely. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
We will be back on Tuesday, September 27th, to talk about satyrs and nature spirits. But until next time, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smartt, as well as
Tim O'Connor, the Crystal Con Man. Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain, and our cover art is by Audrey Miller. You can find her on Instagram at bombshellnutshellart.
Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Just $1 gets you exclusive bonus content. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology, or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.